Okay, thank you very much. We're here with Victor Araujo from San Antonio FC, alumni of the infamous Trinity Tigers, Trinity University Division III powerhouse. Really excited to be here today with yourself, Victor, and great for you to share some insight about your journey to our viewership back home. But thanks again for stopping by. We spent some time today out on the pitch viewing Victor and at a great setup here at San Antonio FC, so it's going to be good to get some insight as to where he came from and where he's ended up. So I guess first off, just a little bit more about where you grew up.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you want to kind of discuss where you grew up, type of football and the clubs that you played for, and maybe we can kick it off with that. So
Sounds good. Well, first of all, it's a pleasure. My pleasure to be here and tell a little bit of my story to you guys. So, as I said, my name is Victor Araujo. I'm from Salvador, Brazil, and I started playing soccer really young. Actually, I started in the futsal, indoor soccer, and at about 9-10 years old, I went to Vitória, which is a Division I club in Brazil. I played there for 6-7 years. That's when I went to Flamengo, where I also played outdoor, really high level, and that's when I heard about Trinity University. I have a friend of mine that came here, and he just told me about how good it is, that chance to come to the United States, the chance of playing and also pursuing an education was a unique opportunity. So I decided to come, and I think it was one of the best decisions of my life. Came here and was able to play college soccer for Trinity University in San Antonio, and got my degree, and now got the chance to play professional soccer.
Okay, so let's go back in time. So you mentioned growing up in Brazil.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's something that always comes into my mind, and it's the word ginga.
Ginga, yeah.
Right. So, growing up in that environment, you want to talk a little bit more about, that style of play, how it impacted you in your early development, and maybe also talk about, from your early development and transition on the ground in Brazil into a more professional environment. So maybe you want to kind of start with, giving us a vibe about what Ginga really means, how that helped you, transition into higher levels of play.
Well, Ginga means the improvisation, improvised soccer. That's when we play indoor in Brazil, the 4v4, short passes, small, fields. That's when we get all the technical. When you're young and you're able to play indoor, that helped actually me a lot on the technical part. Obviously, the going outdoor, the transition of going indoor to outdoor, you learn how the tactics are a lot different, so you get used to that, and obviously the fitness, you get along with training and everything. But the beginning with the futsal and the dribbling and the Ginga, because when you play with a small ball, indoor, it's a lot more, a little harder, and then when if you can do that in the indoor, you can just go outdoor and it's going to be a lot easier.
Yeah. So started off in kind of like youth, grassroots kind of programs in Brazil, and then from there you played for some of the clubs, obviously for some big clubs.
Yeah, Vitória is a big club in Brazil, Division I, and after that I was at Flamengo for also a couple of years, which is a huge team.
Yeah. So
it was very professional. We trained every day, and it was great. Yeah.
So one of the things that I talk about to our recruits, and a lot of people don't usually understand this, is that there's truly professional sports and and especially in different regions all around the world, it's a small doorway to enter, right? And I can only imagine in Brazil, right? The level of professionalism, the players that you played alongside. It's interesting, and a lot of kids don't understand when I tell them that, you know, there's sometimes a kind of an in-between phase of your development where, you know, playing an elite level and then maybe coming into an environment like the collegiate environment in the US really provides still a certain level of development while gaining your degree. Can you talk about what the transition was for you and what made you think and feel that the collegiate environment would have been a better pathway at that point in time for your further development, and I guess from an academic perspective as well?
I mean, when you're in Brazil, when you get like to a certain age, like 17, 18, actually a little younger, like 16, you cannot choose between, you cannot do both. You have to choose between, you know, continuing with soccer or going to school, because at that age, at that level, when I was at Flamengo, we would have practice, you know, twice a day, and we would travel and we would stay like 3 days out, so there's no way we were able to go to school. That's when I started, like, you know, searching and learning a little bit more about college soccer, and, you know, and after my friend coming here and told me all about, you know, his experience of, you know, playing soccer for a university and also studying and getting a degree, you know, that's when I was like, oh, that's, you know, that's what I, you know, want to do.
Because that's interesting, because it was a decision that came from you, or was it a decision that came from, like, mum and dad said, hey, you know, you're doing this professional thing over here?
You know,
what's the deal?
It was both. We actually, like, in my family, we do everything we talk. So I actually talked to them, and they also search and talk to other people. So it was like a mutual decision. I told them I was, you know, interested and intrigued about, you know, this university that you could play for, and also study and get a, you know, a degree and everything. So as I said, it was a mutual decision, and to be honest, it started with me, and because you gotta be realistic with yourself, because when you're 16, 17, and you cannot go to school, and you have to, you know, do everything to become a professional soccer player, that it can work, but sometimes, you know, I think the chances for, you know, a young soccer player in Brazil to make it,
slim. But that's no different to any other, you know, professional environment around the world.
Exactly, like less than 1%. You know, it's very slim. So
so it's cool to know that, you know, that it was a family decision. Everyone worked together to really say, okay, you know, we understand that you're a talented kid, but you do need something to kind of glue it all together, right? Because you know, you see a lot of travelling Wilbury kind of professional players in this day and age, and they're, you know, knocking on doors and trying to get, you know, that pro contract, which can be very elusive. But what a lot of kids back home in Australia, at least, and kids in our network don't understand before they hop into this environment is that, you know, the collegiate game is truly a great platform for them to continue to succeed, not just on the pitch, but further on in life. So you transitioned over. How did you come across Trinity? And I guess from your perspective, maybe you want to talk a little bit more about that Trinity journey.
Well, Trinity was, you know, was a blessing. It's a great school, a great soccer program. We won every year. We won conference. A very successful team. I heard of it through my friend who came here before, and I came here like afterwards, and it was, you know, a great decision. It was really the level was actually way higher than I thought. Coming to the United States, you always think that the big sports here are, you know, basketball and football, but actually they would take soccer, you know, very serious, way serious than I thought they would, you know. So coming here, it's a long season. It's very hard, very competitive. We play with, you know, other hard schools as well. was a blessing for me to, when I got the chance, when I had the offer, the opportunity to come to Trinity. It was something I couldn't deny. It was a unique opportunity. Chance.
So 4 years. I mean, I guess from my perspective, whenever I talk about college soccer, just naturally I lean towards the fact that Trinity was the kind of the entry point for the starting of our company and whatnot. A lot of people get confused about Division 3, is it a lower division? Can they compete against other divisions? And it's interesting to see that you guys are playing against professional franchises and or even higher level division teams across the NCAA.
Mm-hmm.
So do you want to kind of talk about the level and the intensity of what you experienced at Trinity in terms of competition, obviously playing on the national stage, you're a pioneer, but then there's a lot of parity there between divisions, so maybe you want to talk about that.
Yeah, honestly, Trinity as a Division 3 school, we played multiple teams during the spring, multiple D1s and D2 teams, and we won them all. I've never lost to any D1 or D2 school.
Wow.
So it's D3, but it's a very competitive level. It doesn't mean a lot. It doesn't mean that we're inferior than the D1 schools. We're still always ranked. And I guess playing for Trinity helped me to get where I am today.
Sure.
Which is playing for San Antonio
Sure.
FC. Yeah.
And what did you study? What did you end up?
Biology and business.
Wow.
Yeah, both.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you have plans maybe down the line to actually leverage that?
Yes.
See how it goes.
Yeah.
Obviously you've got the pro contract and
Exactly.
you're doing that kind of stuff. So let's talk about that. Obviously it's fantastic. You've got a Trinity education, which is, if our viewers don't understand, it's a top 100 ranked academic institution in the whole of the US. Right? So it's a very, very strong degree to have. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, you finish your 4 years, you get this amazing degree. San Antonio is quite unique, right?
Yeah.
And Texas in general is such a hub. You got I was just blown away. I'm driving in from the airport when I landed, and I'm like, hold on a second, I'm going to Trinity. There's Incarnate Word, another D1 school. Then you got Texas Tech. You got all these massive kind of institutions, and then to bridge that, you've got professional franchises. I drove in, to be honest with you. I'm coming over that hill over there. I'm driving in. I didn't know what to expect. I see this massive field, right? This infrastructure. So tell me about that transition into kind of this professional environment, the level, the intensity of the competition, and what kind of opportunities a lot of kids that might be coming into the collegiate market, especially in Texas, have by having something like San Antonio FC.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, when I came to Trinity, it was never a dream of mine to play professional soccer.
Yeah.
Coming to Trinity, in my mind, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna play, college soccer, and then get a degree, get a job.
Yeah.
But as I said before, Trinity soccer program is so good, and it opened a lot of doors for me. Multiple coaches, watch our games during the season, and on my last year, I was, not lucky. That the coach from San Antonio watched me and invited me and offered me a chance to play professionally for San Antonio FC, which is a team that they play the USL league here in the United States, which is equivalent to the Division 2 here in North America.
Yeah.
And talking about San Antonio, the professional team, San Antonio FC itself is a very competitive league. We played against the B teams of almost every single MLS team, so Seattle Sounders too, Orlando City, New York Red Bulls too. So
Yeah.
it's a great window and chance if you want to go higher for MLS, and yeah, we got a great vision. So it's a great league play. Yeah.
So now is this your first season in the league?
Second season.
Second season in the league, and
yeah.
And how are you finding that transition? How's the intensity been like? Are you finding that it's a really good standard of play? I mean, you're basically playing against either ex-professionals or professionals from different countries trying to earn their keep.
Exactly.
Then great collegiate players like yourself and others all across the US are coming here, and they're all playing against each other. So what is it like? Because I saw it on Saturday night, and the atmosphere here and everything else was just, it blew my mind.
Yeah.
So.
No, I mean the atmosphere, as you said, is great. We have our stadium. I think we can have like a little more than 8,000 people, and our average like 7 or something.
Wow.
So it's almost every game sold out.
Yeah.
The level of the soccer is really high. It's a combination, honestly, of physical and technical. Most of the teams, we try to play from the back.
Yeah.
Passing, and as soccer nowadays, you got to be very physical, to go up and down. So I have actually a couple friends that I met throughout my college career that try to go pro from Brazil, but they just couldn't handle because it's very physical.
Wow.
It's not only technically
coming here.
Wow,
yeah. I noticed that, right?
Yeah.
The level of that physicality is wow. Those guys are going at each other.
Yeah.
The speed, the pace, it is quite different.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay.
So it's great. We have chances to play with the B team from MLS franchises.
Yeah.
So they always bring MLS players to play against us. So the level is always high.
Yeah.
Standards are always high.
Yeah.
And we always have great games.
That's amazing. So, what's in the future for Victor? What's the plan, man?
Plan, I feel like I've been blessed because I'm able to do what I love, and and not many people can do that. So I love playing soccer. I come out here every day. I'm happy, and my goal is to obviously keep on playing, keep on on a high level, help the team to win the championship.
Yeah.
And hopefully in the future, later future, get a job and a degree. But for now, the soccer is my goal. Yeah.
So Victor, really happy that you sat down with us and really gave a lot of our recruits some insight and our families. An amazing journey. I'm excited for what's to come for you, and I'd just like to thank you for sitting down with us today.
It was my pleasure.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.